first place Houston Astros continue their 8-game road trip as they've moved on to Anaheim, California, where they open a 3-game series with the LA Angels. Lefty Brett Overholzer tries to continue his winning ways. And as you talk about winning ways, the American League West in a good position now for the Houston Astros, 41-30, leading the pack. Texas, the Angels, and Seattle trailing, along with the Oakland A's. And so the Astros, with a nice start to their season, have put themselves in a very nice spot. Sometimes you have to salvage series, as they did in Seattle. Nice win yesterday for the club.
Well, they've been beaten up on Seattle, so they did lose 2 out of 3 in that series. It's okay because they beat them up early, but now they get to come in here and maybe create some space between them and Los Angeles.
To get it done, you've got to have guys performing well. For the Astros right now, George Springer and Carlos Correa have made up a nice little combination.
These guys are great. Top of the lineup. George Springer, since moving into the top part of that lineup, has been crushing the ball. Not worried so much about driving that ball out of the ballpark, getting on base, but a lot of that has to do with the guy hitting behind him, too. He's a threat, getting a lot of fastballs when Springer's on base because he's a threat to steal. These guys have been a nice 1-2 punch for the Astros, and something to be expected for a long time to come with these guys.
For the Angels, on the other hand, they've had some guys together now for about 4 years, Mike Trout and Albert Pujols, and they can be dynamic.
Well, we know what Mike Trout can do. Perennial MVP vote getter, does a great job on every aspect of on that diamond. Can go get the ball in center field, drive in runs, steal bags, does whatever it takes. But it's nice to see what Albert Pujols is doing, getting back to form as far as the power numbers are concerned. And that's got to be a huge bonus for the Los Angeles Angels here heading into the All-Star break.
Coming up, the reigning Major League batting champ is set to return to the Astros lineup. But with Springer and Correa excelling at the top, where does Altuve fit in? Julia sets us up with the debate when we return.
Here in Anaheim, facing the Angels for a 3-game set. We get started in just a couple of moments, but the Astros get one of their best back in the lineup today. Jose Altuve, the second baseman, returns to the lineup after missing 7 out of the last 9 games with right hamstring discomfort. The Astros being extremely cautious. He's felt good for a couple of days, even available off the bench, but He's good to go for tonight, going full out 100%, and he will provide a spark in this lineup as he is one of their best hitters and has been for years now. Of course, the AL batting champ last year combined in 2014 and so far in 15, leading the majors in hits there. 298. It'll be fun to see where he is this year when he ends up. But we've seen Altuve hit in different spots in this lineup. So the question was coming in, where would he be? Well, you can take a look at his numbers, batting leadoff, second or third. Good in that leadoff spot. We've seen him succeed there. And of course, in the third and the 3-hole. Tonight, though, he will be in that 3-hole behind George Springer, who has been leading off, in Carlos Correa. Those two have been a great 1-2 punch for this Houston Astros team. AJ not really wanting to mess with that. Altuve, though, joked when he returned, he wanted to bat 8. Just so he didn't mess with the top of the lineup. And I bring Ashton Blummer in on this. How do you feel about where he is tonight?
Hi, Julia. Yeah, you know, for me, and I don't know how Blummer feels about this, but for me, Altuve's the leadoff guy on this team now. Yes, George Springer's numbers are great in the leadoff spot. I don't know that I put a whole lot of stock in where a guy hits in the order in terms of how well he's performed. But Altuve's the best base stealer on the team. I don't see him as the big RBI guy. And I do see George Springer and Carlos Correa as potentially really big RBI guys. And you could probably, for me, flip them around 2 and 3. But that's probably how I would go. And let's see what Blummer's got to say on that one.
No, I'm putting Altuve in the leadoff spot. I know he swings early and often, but when he does get on base, he's a threat. I put George Springer in that 2-hole because I think the mentality he's developed hitting in that leadoff spot has told him that he can hit in this league at 280-plus average. Cut down on that swing a little bit, not put so much pressure on driving the ball out of the ballpark, trying to prove to everybody he's got pop. It's in there. Just let him hit, and then put Correa there in that 3-hole and let him drive in some runs.
Yeah, I think all of that certainly can work, and we'll see it another way for a little while. Tonight's Astros starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It is George Springer in the top spot, followed by Carlos Correa and Jose Altuve. Middle 3, Evan Gattis, Colby Rasmus, and Chris Carter. And the bottom 3, Domingo Santana, Marwin Gonzalez, and Jason Castro. And we're set to go here this evening as Santiago brings the first pitch, and it misses under the knees of George Springer. Springer with a 14-game hitting streak as he stands in. Left-hander Hector Santiago on the hill. And Springer has been tearing it up in that leadoff spot as the Astros start play tonight at 77 degrees with these Angels. Third place team in the West are the Angels. The Astros lead the division. Springer hits one high in the air into left center field. Matt Joyce, the left fielder, over to make the catch. One up, one down here in the first.
Get a chance to look at Hector Santiago's numbers on the season, making his 14th start. He's actually doing some pretty good things. That ERA at 2.77. That ranks 9th in the American League. Ranks 2nd in the majors with a 125 average against with runners in scoring position. So it's going to be a tough night. But Hector Santiago, if you're patient with him, will throw a lot of pitches early. Maybe get to that bullpen where the Astros can get to those guys later in the game.
Carlos Correa now playing in his 14th major league game. And he's made quite the impression, not only with those of us following the Astros, but all around Major League Baseball. People are talking about this young shortstop, 20 years of age. As he takes another strike, it's 0-2. And as Blummer talks about Carlos Correa potentially hitting in the 3 spot, I think all of us see him as that kind of a hitter, a guy that can drive in runs, drive the baseball, and hit in any count. And I think that's probably making up some of the reasons why we believe, along with his speed, that he can hit effectively for a long time in that 3 spot. Santiago pumping strikes. 1-2 the count. 92 miles an hour.
Loves throwing that fastball. His last start out threw almost 70% fastballs, 18% changeups.
Carlos Correa already 4 doubles and 3 home runs. So 7 extra base hits in those first 13 games. Fouls that 1-2 pitch back. And again, the fastball that Jeff's talking about.
How about all the offensive numbers that we saw in Seattle with the Astros against Mariner pitching, 27 home runs. Houston against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, hitting a .170. Only 7 home runs in 7 games.
Right on the hands, Correa fouls it off. So the division has the Astros at the top, 3.5 games in front of the Texas Rangers, 5.5 in front of the Angels, 8.5 in front of Seattle, and then the Oakland A's, who are, I believe, better than their record, but they are 10.5 back. And again, Correa gets a piece. 7 RBIs already for Correa.
I think what's great about Carlos is that you really don't see much of a swing change from him when he gets to 2 strikes. Still under control. Quiet front side. Head stays still. But that's unbelievable. A kid this age can recognize his own talent and his own ability to be able to stay that quiet with 2 strikes.
Has already set a franchise record with 17 hits in his first 13 games. Previous record, 16 hits by Josh Anderson in 2007. Soft liner right to shortstop. That's the second out of the inning. And it'll bring up Jose Altuve. And welcome back, Jose.
Out in the outfield for the Los Angeles Angels, Daniel Robertson, Mike Trout in center, Cole Calhoun in right, David Freese at third base, Eric Ivar at short, Johnny Giavotella at second base, Albert Pujols swinging a hot bat is out there at first base, Chris Iannetta behind home plate.
Jose Altuve trying to get back in there and get hot with the bat.
Of course he swung at the first pitch.
Have it no other way.
Can't take that aggressiveness away from the kid.
Before he mildly pulled the hammy, he was starting to try to take some pitches, and it felt at times, at least to me, like he was trying to do things that didn't come naturally.
Yeah, Altuve, in the years that we've been able to watch him, absolutely impresses me as a guy that's going to swing his way out of a slump.
Has an 0-2 count for Altuve, the batting average at .287. And after watching him last year, you would have to say that's not his game. Drives it down the left field side. Tough play. Robertson on the run makes the play. So Altuve stings it in his first AB back, but that'll do it a 1-2-3 first inning. We're scoreless after a half. The Angels come to bat against Brett Oberholzer. And there you go, right outside, behind home plate here at Angel Stadium. That starting lineup for the Angels, Johnny Giavotella in the top spot, followed by right fielder Cole Calhoun and Mike Trout in the 3-hole. Albert Pujols has been swinging a hot bat. He's the cleanup man, followed by David Freese and Eric Ibar. In the bottom three, Chris Iannetta, Alfredo Marte, and Daniel Robertson.
Obi on the mound for your Houston Astros. Pitched pretty well. Last two starts, 2-0 with a 1.88 ERA. That included a start at home against Seattle where he went 8 strong. Gave up 3 hits. Didn't give up an earned run.
Trying to stay hot. And the Astros trying to win a second straight. After losing the first 2 in Seattle, came back with a nice win yesterday. That made it a pleasant flight for the club coming down to Anaheim last night. Flying into John Wayne International. Jeff Blum stayed behind for all the partying up in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Obi misses.
Got my money's worth.
2-0 the count. You never fail.
Got a reputation to uphold, Ash.
You are one of the upholdingest guys I know. 2-0 pitch taken for a strike. Gio Vitella now the second baseman for the Angels. Howie Kendrick during the offseason moved on to the Dodgers. And these Angels have had some holes offensively. They have not been the club that we've known in the past. They're 12th in the league in hitting at .242. 3-1 the count. They're 11th in the American League in runs scored. They will hit the home run, led by Albert Pujols and Mike Trout. Pujols, in fact, leading the American League in long balls with 21. But they don't run much. And that was one of the marks of the Angels. Not so much the stolen base game, but that first to third, second to home kind of mentality among the very best in baseball. Offensively, not the kind of club that Mike Scioscia has been accustomed to. Change got him. So Gio Vitella just kept watching until 3-2, and then Obi comes back with the change.
This pitching performance is powered by Kubota. He's going to be talking about Obi. Did a great job last time he was out there at Coors Field. Kept the ball down. You see the pitch usage in that last start. We talked about how sliders and breaking balls don't have much effect. Threw 60% fastballs, went to that changeup quite a bit, did a great job. Keep the ball down, keep it in the ballpark, end up with the W. 6 1/3, 3 earned runs, quality start.
Cole Calhoun at the plate. Left-hand hitting outfielder. And a big part of things offensively for the Angels a year ago. That bat has quieted down a bit to this point, hitting .264. And now batting in front of Mike Trout and then Albert Pujols. That's the big part of the order for the Angels. Cole Calhoun, lifetime against the Astros. .262 mark. Has 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. He's dangerous and one of those guys that will take a lot of pitches, like we saw from Gio Vitella. Shift on. Earlier in the year, we saw Cole Calhoun hit ball after ball right to the left side, mostly in line drives. But the Astros continue to have the book that says on the ground he will hit the ball on the right side. 2 balls and a strike. It's a foul into the Astros dugout. Count evens at 2-2. We saw Mike Scioscia just a moment ago. Yesterday, Scioscia managed his 2,500th major league game. The 11th to manage one franchise for 2,500 plus games. Just the 4th manager in major league history to do so. So congratulations to Mike Scioscia.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
4 guys.
And you know, he really has been an outstanding manager for a long time. 2-2 got him looking. A couple of strikeouts to start the evening.
Back-to-back punch-outs with the changeup. We haven't had to use him yet, but we'll take a look around Angel Stadium and see who's playing behind Obi. Colby Rasmus out there in left field. George Springer moving back into center field. Domingo Santana in right. Marwin Gonzalez moved from second base to third base. Carlos Correa again at shortstop. Jose Altuve back in the lineup at second base. Chris Carter at first. Jason Castro doing the framing for Brett Oberholzer.
That's a dance move, right? Mike Trout takes a strike.
Not sure. Got to look that up.
Trout hitting .304. And having another outstanding season. 18 dingers as he grounds one foul. The count at 0-2. 41 RBIs. He's scored 52 runs. He hasn't been running a whole lot. Just 8 stolen bases this year.
18 bombs, only 3 of them against left-handed pitchers.
Against Brett Oberholzer on his career, 5 for 10 with 3 doubles. So he's had his success there. Just the first inning. The 0-2 pitch. That's hooked foul to the Angels dugout. Mike Trout has hit safely in 7 straight. Was 2 for 4 yesterday against the Oakland A's. The A's took 2 out of 3 against the Angels in that series. And a 1-2 count now on Trout.
See 2 good changeups already. You wonder if that elevated fastball is trying to set up another changeup right here.
Mike Trout leading vote getter for center fielders in the American League. Over 9 million votes for Mike Trout. Got him on the changeup. 3 strikeouts in the inning as Brett Oberholzer comes out hot. After 1 inning of play, a scoreless game from Anaheim. Airlines. Book your low fare right now at southwest.com. And brought to you by Jack in the Box. Try the new Double Jack today only at Jack in the Box. Folks still coming in. Filling in nicely here in Anaheim. As usual, a lot of the fans wearing their Angels red. For the Astros here in the second inning, Evan Gattis, Colby Rasmus, and Chris Carter. Each team up and down 1, 2, 3. 3 strikeouts though for Brett Oberholzer in the top of the first, or rather the bottom of the first inning. Evan Gattis, the DH here this evening. Gattis hitting .232, leads the club in RBIs. This is the 5th career start for Santiago against the Astros. And he's pitched well in terms of hits per innings. Just 18 allowed in 22 innings, but the ERA with a couple of home runs allowed at .532. That's an intriguing set of numbers. 5.32 ERA, batting average against just 217. Gaddis swings through it. 2-1 the count. Pretty ideal evening for a ball game. Little on the warm side. 3-1 count now on Gaddis, trying to become the game's first base runner. Hector Santiago to the plate, and the pitch fouled back, and that was going to be right in our laps.
I was going to frame it.
Looked like you were going all Peyton Manning on the snap right there.
Well, I'll make sure I got two hands on it.
Yeah. Colby Rasmus waits on deck. Pitch is popped up and back on the right side, just out of the reach of the catcher Iannetta. So that count remains filled, 3-2. Kevin Gaddis helping out, picking up the mask for Iannetta.
Did you really appreciate it when guys did that for you?
You know what, it made me happier than at
Really?
any other time during the evening.
That's exactly why I wouldn't have done it.
And no, I just it's kind of one of those obligatory things. Fly ball right center field. Trout gives way to Calhoun, who makes the catch. 1 up, 1 down here in the second inning.
Time now for our TXU Energy Power Player of the game, Colby Rasmus. 58 games this season, 14 doubles, 10 home runs. Trying to explain to you why his slugging percentage is right around 514. I apologize. I didn't want to discount the young man, but he's been swinging the bat well. Actually, some of those home runs have been pretty darn clutch, driving in some runs. 25 RBIs to go with those 10 home runs. And a nice little power source in this Astros lineup. Again, another hitter with 10 or double-digit home runs.
25 extra base hits for Colby. So, yeah, I mean, he's come up with some really big swings for the club.
It's actually slugging better against left-handers. 11 points higher.
Hangs in there nicely. That front shoulder and hip hang in till the last moment. Colby takes a strike. It's 0-2. The shift employed on the infield. Outfield fairly straight up. Mike Trout pulled a bit toward right center. A lot of fastballs in that one, just missing somehow.
That's a good pitch. It's one of those pitches as a hitter, you get locked up, you may be looking for it, but it's such a good pitch.
Yeah, you mentioned Colby against lefties, hitting .283 against the lefties. Reminds me a bit of Preston Tucker, where it looks like the focus might even be better against the southpaws than against the righties. Hanging in, keeping that front side closed.
Well, it's such an exaggerated effort as when you're hitting left on left to keep that front shoulder closed, because you know if that thing flies open, you're going to pull off some sliders and fastballs away.
And with that leg kick that Colby employs, all the tougher to do that. You really got to be focused. Against the right-hand pitchers, Colby is hitting just .244. The 2-2. Get on the ground fairly sharply, but at the second baseman. Giovatello makes the play. 2 down here in the second. And that brings up Chris Carter. Carter 0 for his last 10 now. And it's been a battle for Chris. That batting average at .204. But he's come up with some big long balls. 12 home runs on the year, 35 ribbies. Carter takes a strike. Gaddis leads the club with 41 ribs. 35 for Carter has him second, followed by Valbuena, Altuve, Springer, and Rasmus. Even Jake Marisnick has driven in 20, so they've got a number of guys at 20 or better. 7 to be exact. 0-2 the count on Carter. Good swing as he fouls it back. Carter with 95 strikeouts. And that easily is the most on the club. The Astros continue to be a team that strikes out a load. Carter stays alive. The Astros are dead last. Most strikeouts in the league. Home plate umpire John Tupane. And now a 3-2 count. James Hoy is down at first. At second, it's John Hirschbeck. And Bill Welke's at third. Carter's staying alive with some close pitches. 2-2 the count. Timeout called at the plate. Two clubs have met just 7 times this year. The Astros have won 4 of the 7. The Angels have taken 2 of the last 3 against A.J. Hinch's club. It's been a very loose team. And A.J. Hinch gets a lot of credit there. Carter down on strikes. First strikeout for Santiago. He's retired 6 in a row. We're scoreless.
Feeling really good about the changeup, striking out the side with that changeup right there, all 3 batters. And I talked to Jason Castro about this particular pitch. He said it's a great pitch against righties right now, just the way he's feeling it. And he's really been working the inside of the plate against those righties, keeping guys from leaning in. So they're starting to chase that changeup. It's really working for him, guys. What do you think?
Thanks, Julia. And it looks like he has a great one here this evening. Has to be able to use that inside corner, and he tries to start there against Albert Pujols. Finds the corner, gets in front, 0-1. Albert Pujols has really turned it on, hitting .271, leads the American League in home runs with 21, and now 2 strikes on the inside edge.
Well, pulled that changeup a little bit, got away with it.
Pujols has reached base in 15 consecutive. Ground ball left side. Great diving stop. Marwin with the throw, and it gets off the glove of Chris Carter. as Pujols will reach. What a terrific play on one end. And then they can't complete it on the other.
What a great play by Marwin, moving from second base to third base. Getting that start against a lefty, giving Valbuena the night off. Pujols, how about him swinging a hot bat to 2-strike count? Still hits a pretty good ball to that 5.5 hole. Margot clogs it. Carter unable to come up with it.
And Marwin has a great throwing arm. Took a little off of that throw. Pujols aboard, and we're waiting to find what they have called this. First base runner for the Angels as David Freese stands in, the third baseman. Ball gets away from Castro, and moving into second base is Pujols. Now we'll see how this is ruled. It's a pass ball on Jason Castro. Still nothing on the board indicating how they have ruled the Pujols reach.
It's a good call. Ball got away. Great jump by Pujols, anticipating it.
So the defense going shaky here as the second inning begins. A.J. Hinch has come out, and now I don't know, Blummer, you have an idea what's going on here?
I'm not sure. AJ didn't come all the way out and talk to either of the umpires, so they immediately called for the replay headset, and they are on it now.
Now, we saw the play a little less than a week ago, somewhere in that range, where Correa kept the glove on a runner sliding into second base. That runner came off the bag as Correa kept the glove on. He eventually was called out, and we'll have to see if Pujols came off the bag.
He slides and kind of straddling the bag. He was out there in Colorado when Carlos Correa put the tag on Blackmon. Blackmon popped up and Carlos kept the tag on him. So right foot on the bag, kind of goes over the top of it. Left knee's on the bag, hand is on the bag. Oh man, you might have been able to slide a piece of paper under there.
Pretty minute, but yeah, I think you're right. Wow, I think you could.
That's a pretty bold challenge.
Yeah,
let's see if it pays off.
Really good work right there. You could see there was a gap.
I just don't know if there's enough there.
Yeah, there's a gap, and certainly the glove of Correa is on the thigh of Pujols. Is that enough? How about A.J. Hinch?
We got daylight.
Finding out on that one very quickly. Umpire still conferring back behind home plate. Albert Pujols, I think, believes that he stayed on the bag, but you might be surprised to see that piece of video we just saw.
It'd be a fun conversation to hang around right there. Pujols, salty veteran, Hall of Fame type numbers going up, talking to a young man just starting his career. Extremely good talent.
And you have to believe that Albert Pujols has heard about Carlos Correa, and it is an out. Albert Pujols gets called out after coming off the bag very minutely.
That's impressive.
There you go.
Hinch.
Wow. Carlos Correa has done it twice now. Just keeping that glove. Was that Altuve with the tag? Yes.
Fingertip comes off, and I guess they decided that there was enough daylight in between Albert Pujols and the bag to call him out.
So 1 out here in the inning. Now, Albert Pujols.
We don't even know if Albert got on base according to their scoreboard here either.
There's no error on the board. There's no base hit. And you have to believe an error is to be awarded just who got the error. And then eventually Jason Castro gets an assist throwing out Pujols at second base. So kind of your routine first out of an inning. David Freese with a 2-1 count. Little dribbler out toward the mound. On it is Oberholzer, bare hands and throws. And 2 down in the inning. We're told that the umpires used that very same cue that we saw. And they slipped a piece of paper underneath and found out it was doable.
The paper test. Works every time.
So 2 down, base is empty for Eric Ibar. Awarded with the air now is Marwin Gonzalez. That enabled Albert Pujols to reach. And that's where the mess for Pujols all began. It's a tough error when you make that excellent of a play with the glove. Line shot down the left field side. That's a solid base hit. First hit for the Angels. First of the night for either ball club. It comes with 2 outs and brings up catcher Chris Iannetta.
I think that Marwin Gonzalez play is just Albert Pujols' speed put that error on Marwin Gonzalez.
I see. So a 2-out single. Chris Iannetta at the plate. Another one of those Angels hitters that has struggled greatly this year. 178 the batting average. And there's the inside corner.
I'll tell you what, if Obi keeps getting that call on the inside corner right there, it's going to be a good night.
A lot of times the inside corner is hard to find. John Tumpani, that home plate umpire, and he's been calling it. Line shot through the right side with the shift on. That's a base hit. Sprinting for third is Ibar. Runners at the corners on back-to-back hits, and it brings up the DH, Alfredo Marte.
Get back to the dugout. Iannetta's going to tell everybody in there, hey, I just hit it like you threw it. Change up, down and away, just kind of nubs it off the end of the bat. See that ball dying on the way to home plate. Sounds like it might have busted Iannetta's bat too, hitting it off the end of the bat like that.
Seen a number of shift busters recently by both clubs. And now Marte at the plate. 2 down. Runners at first and third. Marte hitting .250. Just 4 at bats. Semi shift on. Altuve playing just on the first base side of second, as the off speed is low. Alfredo Marte. .26 years of age. Good swing as he fouls it back. It's just the 4th game that Marte has played in this year. Not his first year in the big leagues. Came up with Arizona in 2013. And over limited opportunities to play, this is just his 70th game. A 176 lifetime hitter. And now a 1-2 count. Hit a couple of home runs for the Diamondbacks last year. Had 5 doubles and a triple. One and 2 the count. And now he gets hit by the pitch. So Obi hits him, and that'll load him up for the 9-hitter, Daniel Robertson.
It's been an interesting inning already. Wow, that ball just tailing in. It was like a tracer on that back knee of Marte. I don't think he was expecting that.
It's got to hurt a bit right there.
Way to play it off.
Bases juiced. Daniel Robertson at the plate, now an Angel. With the Texas Rangers last year, Robertson hitting just at the 200 mark. Been around the game for a while. Good breaking ball. Castro.
It's going to be a conversation.
Yeah, you could see he started to stand up on that breaking ball. And so he was not looking for the curve.
Is that framing dance you were talking about?
Yeah.
Look at the way he takes this in. Stand up, bring it right back into the zone. Nice. How comfortable of a feeling is that as a catcher?
You know what? You can handle the breaking ball when looking fastball. Ooh. The other way around, you can't handle.
That would be miserable.
Somebody's going to get drilled.
Well, especially with runner at third base.
Yeah. That's when you see the umpire get drilled in the mask when it goes the other way. Good changeup for a strike.
Real good changeup. Obi's got great command of that changeup right now.
He does.
Keep that ball down, keep it in the infield. Good ground ball pitch.
Ideal. Robertson just 2 for 10 on the year. No extra base hits, but has driven in a run. And now the 0-2. Just inside. Not sure how close that came to the back knee. Looked like it might have been close.
Pretty gutsy pitch. You've already hit a guy coming in the inside corner. Then you throw a slider starting middle, breaking in. Like to have that a little more down, maybe get a swing over the top.
1-2 the count. Outfield playing quite shallow. Kobe Rasmus in left field, George Springer in center. They're going to have to really go back on balls. Ground ball to short. Correa will get the out at second base, and that'll do it. Angels strand 3 in the second inning after getting a couple of hits and a hit batter. Still a scoreless game.
Just bombs. Barreled up. Fastballs, curveballs, change-ups. It all started out there at Minute Maid Park. They took that act on the road to Colorado. 8 straight games with 2 or more home runs. That is why they call it Crush City.
Is that catching on now?
I hope so.
Scoreless game. We go to the 3rd inning. And why not? The Astros lead the major leagues. 103 home runs now. This is game 72. You get a pretty good idea. It has been a steady assault. Domingo Santana in the 7th spot. Hammers one right center field. This one's getting out. See ya. Second major league home run for Domingo Santana. So we talk a little long ball, and the Astros give us the long ball.
Mr. Santiago, welcome to Crush City. Domingo Santana. Well, we're halfway there to going 9 straight games with 2+ home runs. And they have got these skipped down to a science in that dugout.
So the 2 home runs by Santana now almost to that same spot, the other in Colorado Coors Field. Well, Domingo Santana getting to start and jacking it out in his first at bat. 5 RBIs now for Domingo. And we were talking about that the other night. Did you happen to see them working on that at the hotel last night?
I don't know. I wasn't at the hotel last night. You said I was partying in Seattle, so I missed out on that.
That's right. Marwin Gonzalez at the plate. Might have been in the aisle of the flight last night.
Ooh, there you go. Happy flight, happy dance.
Happy ball club.
Happy crushers.
104 home runs. Did I say 103? So I was wrong. Make that 104 now for the Astros. 1-0 Houston here in the 3rd inning. And again, the 8th meeting of the year between these two teams. Line shot, and that's a foul ball down the left side. Marwin Gonzalez has chipped in 4 long balls this year. Okay, so if you talk home runs, double digits, you start with Valbuena at 17. Gaddis has 13, Carter 12, also Springer at 12, and Colby Rasmus with 10. A lot of smiles on that bench.
Yeah, he was beaming, wasn't he?
Foul back to the screen. 2-2 on Marwin. There you go. Jose Altuve can smile and converse while biting fingernails.
He just told Domingo that swing was delicious.
Marwin Gonzalez in the 8th spot in the order. He'll be followed by Jason Castro. And now a 3-2 count.
My only concern with Domingo, we saw it last year, the talent was there. I felt that he's a big kid, 6'3", 6'4", filled out pretty good, can run a little bit. We haven't had a chance to really see him tested in the outfield, but now getting a chance to see some of that pop.
And ball 4. Marwin draws a walk. Still nobody out for Jason Castro. And that thing was so pretty. Let's see it again.
Yeah, we got to. Center cut fastball. I guess we're finding out that Domingo's pop is going to that right center field gap. And what I was going to finish by saying is that last year we just saw a lot of raw talent from Domingo Santana. We didn't really have a chance to see a refined approach, but it looks like over the offseason, worked on some things, went back to AAA, got those numbers back up, and now here he is with an opportunity with Marisnick on the DL.
Castro takes a strike. Jason has the batting average at 2 1/4. And that on-base percentage, not where Castro would like it. 7 bombs on the year. And lifetime against the Angels. He's hammered 4 home runs, all while hitting .235. Marwin not a big part of the running game for the Astros. That running game also leading in the American League. 56 stolen bases, caught 16 times. One and 2 the count. Marwin does have a couple of stolen bases, caught 1 time. Semi shift on with Castro at the plate as he fouls it back. Mike Trout in center field, shaded toward left center a bit. There's that infield alignment. More and more, that's what you see. That is the wave of the game right now. Will there come a time when hitters start trying to take advantage and use the other side? Or is the game more about trying to hit the long ball, the extra base hit?
You know what the idea here is with the Astros?
Let it fly.
Dip and drive.
Line shot to right field. There to make the play, Calhoun. Had to freeze momentarily on that line drive. First out of the inning. With Marwin Gonzalez still at first base, George Springer comes to the plate. He flied to left in the first inning. 14-game hitting streak. And how about that batting average at 283, 12 bombs. George Springer has been a huge part of this offense in recent times. Such a talented player. And you go back to back with him and Correa. Throw Altuve in the mix. He's got the makings of some really good times. Springer had 3 hits and 5 at bats yesterday. And of course, one of those hits, a home run, is 12th on the year. He's had home runs in 2 of his last 3 games. And now 2-0 the count. You see anything that jumps out glaring about what George is doing to make this happen?
I think it's all the mentality. We've heard about his approach. Not trying to drive the ball every single swing. We've seen him cut down, go up the middle. He's actually done a fantastic job for me with 2 strikes. We've seen a lot of the hits on this road trip going back up the middle with 2 strikes.
It also feels to me that he's become friends to some extent with the breaking ball. He sees the off-speed pitch quite well. And now 3-0 the count.
Because we know the strike zone discipline has always been there for George. He's done a good job of working to get himself in hitters' counts. It's just a matter of taking sometimes that big swing on pitches that he should drive. Now he's cut down on the swing and able to hit him right back up the middle, sacrificing the power to get the base hit.
3-1. Taking all the way, Springer.
This is what we're talking about right here. Before May 24th, cold zone right down the middle. I think that's because he was taking those gigantic swings trying to drive it out. Now cutting down, just worried about getting on base. It's turned into an extremely hot zone.
Takes another strike. Well, he'll turn around and stand in with a 3-2 count. Pretty good pitch.
Still got 1 left.
You want to send Marwin here?
Yeah.
3-2 count, 1 out, a run in. Marwin does not go as the pitch is fouled down the right side. And there's part of what it's about, what you're talking about.
Let that ball travel, get deep. And you got to remember, too, he's got a ton of confidence going for him right now. He is swinging the bat extremely well. That means he's seeing the ball extremely well. My reason for sending Marwin is because he is taking these good passes with 2 strikes. Get him in motion. George shoots a gap. Marwin has a chance to score.
Springer had 5 hits in that Seattle series. There goes Marwin, and there goes a drive deep right field in the corner at the pole, and the catch made leaning into the seats, Calhoun. That's the 2nd out of the inning, and that was a pretty good bid for an Oppo home run.
Man, the way Anaheim sets up with that wall kind of tailing back towards that foul pole, and this ball slicing at the same time, I thought he might have snuck one around the corner there and gotten a dinger out of it. Great play by Calhoun, drifting over there, knowing the wall's coming at him and keeping his eye on the ball. See if it had the home run distance. I think it may have.
I thought so. 2 down instead. And Carlos Correa at the plate. That's a great example. That ability to stay on the pitch now and drive it to right field. Carlos Correa hit a soft liner to shortstop in the first inning. Batting average has slipped under 300 at 298. Santiago doesn't have what you'd call a great move to first base. Three major league home runs already for Correa, and again that move to first. Big young man at 6'4". Plays shortstop extremely well for a big man. Fouls it back, and that hits part of my monitor.
We can't lose your monitor.
Yeah. And we've got drinks sitting right here too. Yep. It's a warm evening in.
Careful on the beverages. You
Southern
almost hit
California.
your biggest fan back here too.
Yeah, that
we
is.
Can't do that.
It's not the biggest fan. It's the only fan.
Everything's
Yes.
okay. We still got action.
You know what? It moves back and forth too. I want to make sure the fans are aware of the movement that takes care of both of us.
Oh, is that what's going on up here?
Yeah. See how it moves back and forth?
Right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Hit that spot.
We'll get it. 2 balls and a strike. Runner goes from first, swing and a miss, and the throwdown not nearly in time, and apparently. Well, if that's interference, there would be an out. Instead, they are ruling that Marwin has to go back to first base.
We get a do-over. Watch the bat. It's on the back swing. It got the catcher's left arm.
So I guess this is you didn't do anything wrong thing for the hitter, but there was interference that made Iannetta not be able to make the play. 2-2 the count.
I thought you called guys out on that.
I did too. I thought if it was inadvertent or otherwise, it was interference with an out, but here we go. Nobody arguing that call. Third inning, 1-0 Houston on a home run by Domingo Santana. And again, Correa fouls it on the right side. Correa looks to me to be one of those rare youngsters who doesn't care what the count is. He's going to see the ball a long time and willing to hit with a couple of strikes on him. He was 1 for 5 yesterday in Seattle. And now 3-2. And that will put Marwin on the move. And Jose Altuve waiting on deck. It's good to see him back.
Just creates all kinds of depth in that lineup. With him in that lineup, it really creates some serious situations for starting pitchers. You really can't take a break.
There goes Marwin. And again, the pitch fouled down the right side.
Astros are making Santiago work. 66 pitches.
Still trying to get through the third inning. A.J. Hinch has the guys playing great baseball. Fly ball right field, not deep enough. Calhoun is there, and that'll do it. The Astros get a run on that second major league home run by Domingo Santana, and it was a bomb.
We look back at the career of Darryl Kyle, who made his first All-Star team and threw a no-hitter in 1993 and had the best year of his career in 1997 with the Houston Astros.
What a loss that was for players all around Major League Baseball and the fans and so many who love Darryl. We go to the bottom of the third inning, top of the order for the Angels. Johnny Giavotella leads it off. .275 batting average. So he's done a nice job at second base for the Angels. But he doesn't hit for a lot of power. 3 dingers on the year, 25 ribbies. Has a ball and a strike. Brett Oberholzer struck out the side in the first inning and then left the Angels stranding 3 in the second. A run on a hit for the Astros. The bomb by Santana. No runs, 2 hits for the Angels. Ground ball right side. Altuve wide to his left will make the play. And Giavotella runs well. Darryl Kyle on that terrific career.
It's amazing. 12-year career before it was cut short. He could have pitched for at least 3 to 5 more years, and the guy had absolutely unbelievable stuff.
How about the curveball?
Kind of had it. Well, that's what he kind of short-armed the fastball up there. He didn't really reach back, but he could throw 92 to 95 miles an hour. But the second you finally dialed it up to try and hit that fastball, he would throw one of the nastiest 12-6 hammers you've ever seen.
Yeah, he was a terrific and feared pitcher. And I don't know if you ever had the opportunity. When I think of Darryl, I think of the golf course a lot, and he could hit a golf ball with anybody. Cole Calhoun at the plate. Caught looking in the first. Takes a strike. It's 1-1. Last year, these two clubs went 10-10 against each other. And they revise that in a moment. Following the base hit by Cole Calhoun. A one-out single by Calhoun as a man aboard for Mike Trout.
That's why you keep that front shoulder closed so you can get around that fastball in the outside corner if you're a left-handed hitter. He squared that one up nicely.
The ball's finding holes. Mike Trout, he struck out to end the first inning. That batting average at .303. Brett Oberholzer making sure that he keeps Cole Calhoun near the bag. Back on last year, the Angels won 12 of the 19 meetings. So the Astros trying to turn that around this year. It's the inside corner with the change.
It's a tough matchup to run on. Obi being left-handed. Castro just being able to throw, period.
Jose Altuve playing almost behind the bag at second. So a shift on. Mike Trout loves to drive the ball to right and right center, but he typically hits it in the air. Takes another strike. 0-2 the count, and Obi doing a great job on the inside edge.
Yeah, it's either that guessing game gone wrong for Mike Trout or Obi's just making perfect pitches.
Mike Trout has already picked up 300 career walks. Try to come up the ladder a bit in.
Similar sequence that we saw the first time Mike Trout was up there. 0-2 count. Fastball elevated, came back with the changeup, got the punch out.
Those 300 career walks, third fastest to that number in the history of the Angels. The other guys, big guys, Tim Salmon and Troy Gloss. And Trout's been hot over his last 29 games, hitting .336 in that span. Also 8 home runs, 20 ribbies. So he and Albert Pujols have been swinging it very well. Half swing. Did he go through? And yes, he did. They appeal down to first base. James Hoy with the call. Second time on the night, Mike Trout is down on strikes. 2 outs here in the third. And now Albert Pujols coming to the plate.
Yes, we know what the game plan is against Mike Trout. Careful what you wish for.
Mike Trout decided to try to cut down on the strikeouts. He was roughed up a bit last year in that category, and maybe taking a lot of early pitches, falling behind. And now Albert Pujols, 0 for 1 on the night, reached on an error that was charged to Marwin Gonzalez in the second inning. A terrific play with the glove by Marwin. As he got up and threw it low, it skipped off the glove of Chris Carter.
We're in that danger zone now for Britt Oberholzer. Albert Pujols swinging a hot bat, leading the American League with home runs. Seeing the ball quite well. But I think this strike zone for Oberholzer is working out quite well right now. He's getting some shakes of the head from Angel hitters. But he's also, the game plan we talked about, he's executing it quite nicely here in this ball game too.
Tries to work inside. It kicks on by Castro. Wild pitch. And now a runner in scoring position for Pujols. Albert's driven in 44 this year.
I think the way Albert's been going here recently, that's what forced that pitch from Obi. Really trying to be too careful with that pitch on the inside corner. Yanked it a little bit. Sometimes when pitchers try and get on the inside corner, trying to be too fine, leak out over the plate. Don't want that to happen to this man.
Again, trying to bust in, but it's 3-1. Waiting on deck, David Freese.
I was just going to ask you, are you going to throw him a pitch to hit right here?
I think if you throw a strike, it's going to be on the very edge, possibly that changeup. No fear in walking Pujols. Pretty well spotted fastball outside portion.
How about that? Obi's feeling pretty good.
I guess he feels like if he comes in enough, that outside corner opens up a bit.
But I wonder if Albert was thinking along the lines that we were also, and maybe got fooled by that fastball.
Yeah, you can think yourself into problems sometimes.
Oh, can you? Can I?
Can we?
We can.
15th year in the big leagues for Albert Pujols, and I believe it's 6 more years on that contract.
Plenty of game left.
He's actually played a lot better than maybe a lot of people think since coming over to the Angels. He drills one but hooks it foul. Already 21 home runs this year. And again, that leads the American League. He hit 28 last year while driving in 105. And that's the second time now in 3 full years with the Angels that he's driven in exactly 105. Change in the dirt, and the 2-out walk. Runners at first and second for David Freese.
No harm in that pitch right there. We get a sneak peek inside that glove, and that's that circle change.
First walk issued by Obi. He has hit a batter. There's been an error behind him. The wild pitch here in the inning. David Freese hitting .235. Off speed for the strike.
Not only is Obi able to throw those off-speed pitches to get the punch out, he does a good job getting ahead here.
And again, trying to work it inside.
Freese to me is a guy you want to try and tie up, throw that changeup away, try and bust him in a little bit, because if he gets extended on that outside third with plate, we've seen him drive balls to right field quite well, and I think that's where most of his power goes. Center field to that right center field area.
I like what we're seeing from Obi tonight. I think if he's going to be able to utilize successfully that great changeup, his fastball for a good part of the time has to be in. And there it is, in on the hands.
So true.
Yeah, it's a good philosophy. As a hitter, you can guess hard or in or out. But Obi's done a nice job mixing it up.
Well, when you've got command of all three pitches like Obi seems to have right now, he's feeling pretty good. Do whatever he wants.
Ground ball back to the mound as Freese gets jammed, and that'll do it for the Angels in the third inning. It's a 1-0 Houston lead. The Astros and Root Sports are saddened by the tragic loss of Darryl Hamilton. In addition to his fine 13-year career as a major league player and talented MLB network analyst, Darryl was also a friend of the Astros organization, strongly supporting youth baseball, outreach efforts, and making appearances at the Urban Youth Academy. Darryl was an exemplary ambassador for the game, a wonderful human being, and will be greatly missed. It's a 1-0 Houston lead. We go to the fourth inning. 3-4-5 for the Astros. Jose Altuve starts it out. Jose hit a drive down the left field side in the first inning. It was hauled in on a nice running grab by Robertson. And that ended that inning. But nice to see Jose back and stinging the baseball.
Picked a good team to come back against. He's hit .385 against the Angels this year.
Change up on the other side. And again, with Brett Oberholzer, really good looking game plan being implemented. Fly ball, towering shot down the left field side. Robertson comes near the line to make the catch. 1 up, 1 down in the fourth. Only run of the ball game. Solo home run by Domingo Santana. His second major league bomb. And it was legit. Evan Gattis at the plate. He flied to center in the second inning. Had a hit in 5 at bats yesterday in the win at Seattle. Boy, was he glad to get back to American League Baseball with that DH back involved. A couple of games in Colorado, and I think it was really tough for Evan.
As annoying as that 2-game series, this guy was pretty happy it was only a 2-game series.
Ground ball left side. He can go down and get him. Ivar takes his time to get Gattis. 2 down in the inning.
Kick off your weekends at Minute Maid Park with the best fireworks show in town, presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The next Friday night fireworks is this Friday when the Astros take on the Yankees. For more information, visit astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Two more games here on the road before the Astros come back home. Will be Rasmus. Grounded out to second base in the second inning. Tomorrow's game has Colin McHugh up against C.J. Wilson. That's a 9:05 Central start. And then a day game for Wednesday, concluding the 8-game road trip. 2:35 start. Lance McCullers and Matt Shoemaker. Lance McCullers, one of the guys that is really fun to watch now. Terrific stuff. A real gamer. That guy will go after it.
It's just fun to watch.
I would say right now it's just maintain your stuff, manage pitch counts a little bit better. You got a chance to be one of the game's outstanding power pitchers. Rasmus at 253. Hector Santiago to the plate. And strike 3 is called. Caught looking Colby Rasmus. Second strikeout for Santiago. A 1-2-3 4th inning. 1-0 Houston.
Astros here, bottom of the 4th. Jose Altuve needs your help to retake the lead for the second base all-star starting position for the American League. Make Houston proud and vote Altuve now at astros.com/vote. Another guy who should be making a push for an all-star position, I should say, or some votes at least, is this guy right here, George Springer, who started in center field tonight. Now with Jake Marisnick on the DL, AJ Hinch has options, especially with Colby Rasmus and his ability and his history playing center field. But tonight, AJ said he took a lot of things into account. It wasn't just drawing a name out of a hat. Colby might have been in center field in other places, but against this right-handed lineup for the Angels and this ballpark, that big left center field area. He felt like that was the best way to go about this tonight. Domingo Santana also very comfortable in left as well as right, guys.
Thanks a lot, Julia. A lot of insight. And you know, a lot of thought goes into where that talented outfield lines up on any given night. Eric Ibar at the plate, had a base hit in the second inning. Shows bunt. Down at third base tonight for the Astros, Marwin Gonzalez. Super sub has been playing well. A lot of second base action recently with Altuve out. 2-1 the count. 1 run on the night, a home run by Domingo Santana. A jolt to right center field. Changeup in the chopper, and another nice play by Marwin and a strong throw to get him. Nice 360 after that tough play with the glove.
You got to remember, he's been playing a lot of second base. Now over there at the hot corner, watch the feet. Good feet. Kind of takes a little bit of a deeper angle, which I like to see. Lets him see that ball a little bit longer on that hop on the backhand. Nice play to get that lead out of this inning.
Always felt that second hop was the toughest part about third base. Now, I didn't play there, but you just see so many tough second hops for a third baseman. Pop up on the right side. Chris Iannetta hits it. It's Santana now drifting towards center before he finally hauls it in, and you could see some baseball there.
That was fun. Let's check out some all-star balloting. Wow. Miguel Cabrera's broke through that first base spot, getting over Eric Hosmer.
Yeah. That's Justice taking over. Omar Infante has actually expanded his lead over Jose Altuve. So get out there, get your votes in.
Please. Vote Altuve.
July 14th, the All-Star game coming up soon. Shift on now for Alfredo Marte, the DH. Was hit by the pitch, that on that back leg in the second inning. Well spotted heater. It's 1-1. Marte, 26 years of age, out of the Dominican Republic. Oh, that change so effective.
He hasn't missed with one yet. They've all been down in the zone.
As good a change as there is on the staff.
Why not? See if he'll chase. If you got that kind of command on it, throw it below the zone. Sometimes you're going to get that fish to bite a little bit. But at the same time, you're slowing the hitter's eyes down. Slow the hands down, maybe sneak a fastball by him.
That pitch was such a big reason that Dave Smith, the all-time leader in saves for the Astros, had such great success. Now, Smitty threw it with a splitter kind of a grip, but it came out like a regular changeup. But it was all about arm speed for Smitty. 3-2 the count now. Marte, the 8-hitter. Daniel Robertson waits on deck. You'd much rather have him lead off the next inning. You get the feeling that we could get peppered a bit here this evening.
I'm ready. Left my glove at home. I should have brought a couple of them.
You know, when I get really serious, the ring comes off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Keep my eye on that. I'm talking about during the game or after the game.
You're a bad man. That is just not right.
Couldn't help it.
Not right. He's only joking, Hunt.
I am only joking. It was a bad joke at that.
He's pretty good. 3-2 pitch. And again, the foul ball. Little activity in that Angels dugout.
Yeah, nobody's safe.
Two outs. And now a tough time coming up with his third out of the fourth inning. Just getting a piece, Marte. Bit of a pitching clinic so far this evening by Brett Oberholzer. Marte in 22 games a couple of years ago hit 186, 170 last year, and now draws the 2-out walk. And that will bring up the 9-hitter, Daniel Robertson. Second walk to go along with a hit batter. Obi's picked up 4 strikeouts on the night. And another 100 batting average. Marte has 1 major league stolen base. That picked up last year with the Diamondbacks. Obi just steps back and bluffs to first. Daniel Robertson played with the Texas Rangers last year and played pretty well. Hit 271 in 70 ball games. Had 9 doubles, a triple. Did not go deep. Fouls one back just above us. And that was the sound of Jeff Blum's glove.
Yep, same one I used when I played.
That's your softball glove
that
right there.
Was gong.
Have you gone out and played one of those magical games of softball?
I have not. Coached a lot of softball for my daughters.
It's always fun when everybody's looking at you to hit one about 600 feet every time you get to the plate.
Well, there's got to be that high expectation, I would imagine.
Get jammed and dribble one back to the mound.
Showing off again, huh?
And another toss to first. And again, just 1 career stolen base for Marte. Just the 2nd season in the big leagues for Dan Robertson. Originally drafted by the San Diego Padres. Timeout called at the plate.
We didn't even pump the brakes. We just went straight to the E-brake to slow this thing down. Marte over at first base is drawing a lot of attention.
Maury Marte takes his lead.
Ooh, good one. It's not Ricky.
Not Ricky.
Toughest part as an infielder right now is you end up getting on your heels a little bit.
Breaking ball misses, a ball and a strike. Yeah, it's picking up that all of a sudden right here, that feel that we've seen in other games on the trip. Vince Velasquez games have just had a very slow pace. And that's one area I think we'd like to see picked up for him. I think it would help him a lot.
Sure would.
Foul ball off the right side. 1-2 the count to Robertson. Mentioned that Robertson was drafted originally by the Padres, 33rd rounder, purchased by the Texas Rangers and traded by the Rangers here to Anaheim. Fouls another one. They need to implement a rule that a couple of foul balls and you've struck out after 2 strikes. Let me at that rules committee.
We have a lot of happy hitters with you, Ash.
You'd see more hacking early in the count, I assure you.
What if you're hacking and you just can't barrel it up that day? A couple of shanks over there and a couple of yanks over there, and you're out.
I think Vince Velasquez would lead the league in strikeouts.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't he though? Yeah. A lot of foul balls off of his fastball. Where's this? Woo. I think Obi was getting ready to go off the mound because he's actually gotten a couple pitches on that inside corner, so to speak.
Or somewhere near, right?
Yep. Vicinity rule.
2-2. Hot shot, but Altuve's there. He'll flip to second. And there's the force. 4-6. That does it for the Angels in the fourth inning. They leave a man. Through 4, it's a 1-0 Houston lead. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. One nothing Astros through 4 innings. Domingo Santana with a long ball. And that's all the scoring in the game. Chris Carter leads off in the 5th inning. He'll be followed by Santana and Marwin Gonzalez. Hector Santiago has been good, but for 1 pitch. Brett Oberholzer has been a bit better. 1 Houston hit, that's the home run. The Angels have just 3. A couple of left-handers pitching very well this evening. The 1-0 pitch. Carter swings through it. Chris Carter struck out to end the 2nd inning. High drive left field. Not deep enough. Coming back is Robertson. He'll make the catch. 1 up, 1 down in the 5th. Domingo Santana comes to the plate, and what a bomb he hit.
Center cut fastball. We saw it on the replay, and he just got those hands through, barreled it up. Wow, that's a bomb. That's a good 10 rows back. Do you think he thinks about the celebration the whole entire time around the bases?
I bet it's becoming that way. Engage your teammates. That's what it's all about.
And if you notice how every guy is involved,
really good stuff.
That's a good thing.
Did you notice on that replay of the home run the delay of the barrel of the bat for him? Kind of like a little bit of a golf club swing. One of yours I'm talking about. There's the big swing.
That's normally where my drives go, is that right center field gap. Trying to aim for the rock pile in center.
Deep, though. Kind of delays the head, and then it comes out of nowhere.
What kind of flex does he have on that club?
I think he's using the extra stiff. Fifth inning, 1-0 Astros. Santana takes a strike. 2-2 the count. Domingo Santana hitting .273. Just limited playing time, but already a couple of bombs. Well, you can see where the power comes from.
That was a quick bat. If there was anybody in the league that needed confidence, it's just this guy right here. I know we keep talking about it, maybe harping on it a little much about what happened to him last year, but I don't think either of us have ever seen anything like it.
Slider got him. Caught looking Santana. That's the third strikeout for Santiago. 2 down, and brings up Marwin Gonzalez. How about a little get to know for you, Blummer?
It's going to be brought to you by Houston Methodist. And who are they going to help us get to know other than Marwin Gonzalez? Denzel Washington at the top of that list for him as far as actors. Altuve has the best dance moves? You got to be kidding me.
What movie was he in?
Altuve?
Yeah. Oh, actually, he was in a movie this year, right? The Jose Altuve story?
Yeah, he's got his own documentary, but I thought for sure George Springer was going to be the best dancer.
Oh, that's a good point. They did miss the dance scene in that movie.
That'll be the sequel.
Marwin drew a walk in the third. Drills a line shot into left field. Solid base hit, 2-out single, and just the second hit for the Astros.
The right side's been awfully nice for Marwin Gonzalez.
It has.
Hit a bomb in Colorado right-handed here. Just almost looked bored hitting this one. Just a fastball down. I'm going to drop the head, hit me a laser beam to left. I'll be at first base if you need me.
It's about what it looked like. Boy, that right side is really strengthening up. And Marwin hitting .234 now, so he's rising. Jason Castro at the plate. Lined out to right field in the third inning. First of 3 between the two clubs. Tomorrow night, 9:05 start Central. Colin McHugh against C.J. Wilson. And then that Wednesday game, getaway day for the Astros, heading back home. 2:35 start. It'll be Lance McCullers and Matt Shoemaker. 1 ball and 1 strike on Castro. The Astros at 41-30. That's the most wins in the American League. Popped up left side of the infield. The shortstop Ibar on the outfield grass. He'll make the catch. That'll do it for Houston in the 5th. They get a 2-out single from Marwin. He's stranded. 1-0 Houston.
Astros with a 1-0 lead over the Angels. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Every Wednesday night home game is $1 Hot Dog Wednesday presented by Nolan Ryan Beef. And the next $1 Dog Buffet is Wednesday, July 1st when the Astros take on the Royals. For more info, visit astros.com/$dogs or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Thank you, Julia. We are back for the bottom of the fifth inning. 1-0 Houston. A solo home run by Domingo Santana. That came as he led off the third inning. And now for the Halos in the fifth, top of the order, Johnny Giavotella leads it off. Hits the first pitch in the air to right field. Santana is back to make the play and 1 out. Domingo Santana gets the start, and he is all of the offense. Cole Calhoun comes to the plate, 1 for 2. Has struck out and singled. And Brett Oberholzer putting on a nice little string of pitching now for the club. Won each of his last 2 starts, beating Seattle and then the Rockies at Colorado. That was not an easy assignment. Allowed 3 runs over 6 1/3 in that one. That win over the Mariners, 8 shutout innings of 3-hit baseball. Struck out 5 in each one of those starts. He's already struck out 4 tonight. And you would think if he can find this game where he can spot the fastball in, utilize the changeup well, he becomes so much more effective. Ground ball right side. Altuve's there. There's 2 outs in the 5th inning. Mike Trout comes to the plate.
Jack in the box takes us inside the box score. We're going to be looking at the hot cold zones for a young man named Mike Trout. He's made some adjustments. Last year was having some serious issues in this upper region of the strike zone. But you can see now taking advantage of some of those pitches that have made mistakes up. But still just a very good hitter. Very few cold zones. But I like that idea of trying to get him down and in with that slider, maybe back up in that zone, get the swing and miss.
A couple of strikeouts tonight for Trout. The Millville Meteor. That's who Mike Trout is to some. Last year, 184 strikeouts. Now with the 2 tonight, 67. So he still strikes out a lot. Well, but everything else he does, just exceptional. 2-0 the count. And you haven't heard a whole lot about Trout with the home run ball this year, but 18 bombs already. He hit 36 last year, and he drove in a league high 111. Takes that fastball for a strike. It's 2-1. Albert Pujols waiting on deck, and you wonder, does that change the philosophy for Trout? Maybe about trying to get on base more than trying to jack one a 2-0 pitch. Ooh, 3-1.
I'm not sure. I just think it's just Mike Trout being Mike Trout. He's had success with his approach. There's nothing he really needs to change.
When Manny was being Manny, that was pretty dangerous for the pitchers. And there's the 2-out walk. Third walk now issued by Oberholzer to go along with the hit batter in the 2nd inning. And now the very dangerous Albert Pujols. Speed aboard with Trout. That running game hasn't been a big part of things for Mike this year. 8 stolen bases. He's been caught 3 times. Pujols has reached on an error and drawn a walk.
Wow, you want to hear some interesting splits on a guy named Albert Pujols?
Absolutely.
This season against left-handed pitching, batting average is 200.
It's hard to believe.
Against right-handers, it's 290. So that's not the difference in numbers you'd expect to see from a guy like Albert Pujols.
Not at all. A guy who's hitting 270 overall. Stay loose.
Man, you ain't lying. Five RBIs away from Tony Perez. Creeping up on baseball royalty.
That is pretty good company.
Man.
Sammy Sosa, Gary Sheffield. Toss over. Mike Trout's a guy who back in 2012 stole 49, being caught just 5 times. But the numbers have dropped off in that category year by year. 33 the following year, 16 last year, and now 8 this season. Fouled back again. 0-2 the count. Albert Pujols not getting cheated a bit. .341 batting average, 13 home runs, 27 ribbies over the last 23 games. And since May 28th, leading the major leagues in home runs, RBIs, and slugging percentage. He's been over 20 home runs 14 times in his 15 seasons. Talk about joining up with some other big-time players. He joins Willie Mays, Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, and Chipper Jones as the only players to do exactly what we just said, 14 times in 15 years, hitting 20-plus home runs.
Wow, that's out of the stadium. Look at this. That was awesome. You'd never see that.
You know what? When you pull,
that was unbelievable. Yeah.
When you pull one that far, that high, how close did that come to hitting your chin going by? It's got to be pretty close, isn't it?
I don't care. I hope it didn't hit my truck.
I'm thinking about my chin. I don't care about your truck.
Well, if you can get the barrel of the ball, you don't have to worry about your chin. That was incredible.
1-2 the count. Drive to center field deep. Springer back at the wall. Number 22 for Pujols. And the Angels jump on top 2-1. There's your American League leader in long balls.
Swinging the bat incredibly well. This is the one mistake Obi's made on the night. Elevated fastball, and this is not the guy you want to do it against. Full extension, man knows his pop, knows the ballpark, and this one is out of here.
Yeah, not a guy you want to make a mistake on. David Freese now at the plate, twice is grounded back to the mound, and for a 3rd time now, Obi will make the play on him, and a little anger in that toss from Brett Oberholzer. That'll do it for the Angels. They get a pair on the bomb by Pujols, and after 5, lead it 2-1.
on his excellent month that he's been having. He said, I understand that the object is to get to first base, and I think that's helped slow me down. Instead of me trying to hit a home run every single time, I just understand that if I just take a nice, easy, controlled swing and get to first base for whoever's up behind me, our offense can go. And, of course, trying to extend his hitting streak to 15 games now. He's really confident at the plate. You can see it. One of the things Dave Hudgens, the hitting coach, said that he's not over-swinging. That's something they've really been working on since he became a Houston Astro last year. But that's something he's noticed. Also laying off the high pitches, guys.
One hopper hit to second base, playing up the middle, Giovotella. And they'll get Springer for a third time tonight. So that 14-game hitting streak is still on the line. One out in the sixth inning on one pitch. Yeah, that defense played perfectly.
Pretty good play on that hop.
There's that swing, though, again, right back up the middle.
I was thinking the same thing, and really a concerted effort to really try and stay up the middle, let that ball travel. And when you hear in that quote, he said something about slowing down. When you hear hitters talk about slowing things down or even mentioning that, anything they say about baseball, that's where you want to be. You want to slow the game down. That means he's locked in.
Carlos Correa at the plate, 0 for 2. Has lined out and flied out. 95 pitches now for Santiago. Trying to get through the sixth inning. Has a 1-2 count on Carlos Correa. Trevor Gott loosening in the Angels' pen in left field. Correa is dancing to get out of there. 2-2. The right-hander for the Halos. That started. He held it back, and the count goes full.
I wonder if there's any comfort in Carlos Correa being here in the big leagues, knowing that most big league pitchers, even though they can command 4 pitches, they're all going to be right around the strike zone. He doesn't have to expand here like he might have done down in AAA.
I think for some guys it works to their benefit. You can see the good swing and just not pulling off the baseball, staying right on it.
And a guy like Carlos Correa probably put a lot of expectation on himself in AAA, wanting to produce, prove his worth, but right now he's proven his worth here.
Ground ball sharply hit, but there's Giovotella again. 2 down on ground balls to the second baseman. They had to bring up Jose Altuve. Altuve drove one down the left side in the first inning. Nice running grab down in the corner by Robertson. And he's hit another fly ball to left field. 0 for 2 on the night. Jose takes high. Well, if the Astros are going to take that run this year, you're going to need this guy to start swinging the bat the way he can. A.J. Hinch loves the way the guys are pitching in and playing with passion. 3-0 the count.
When was the last time you saw Altuve take 3 pitches in a row?
Yeah, that's rare. Altuve hit .367 in the first month this year as he takes a strike. .367. He looked like the guy that hit .341 last year to win the batting title. Then tailed off to .231 in May. He's hitting .250 in June at the start of play. And now has a full count.
Might have swung at ball 4 there.
He had 7 doubles to go with 2 dingers in that first month and drove in 16, stole 9 bags. The numbers were off the charts. And he's down on strikes and not happy. 1-2-3 6th inning. That could be it for Santiago. He walks off leading 2-1. And a lot of fans wearing their red here in Anaheim once again. Bottom of the 6th we go. Well pitched game, just 6 hits combined between the two clubs. 2 have left the yard. Solo job in the 3rd inning by Domingo Santana. And then the 2-run home run by Albert Pujols with 2 out in the 5th. There's a chopper to 3rd. Marwin makes another fine play and just did get his man. Eric Ibar speeding down the line, and that's out number 1.
Keep trying to test Marwin. He's up for the challenge. Good job elevating and playing in. Adjust to get that chopper and then get on the back leg, get over the top and throw a strike to first.
Watching Marwin tonight, he's been really good, and yet he has the game's only error. Got a throwing error. Chris Iannetta at the plate. Has singled and flied out. Again, that shift on. He had a ground ball through the right side for that single in the 2nd. Changeup just floats away. Obi working it, 1 out here in the 6th inning. And again, Obi on a 2-game winning streak. Would love to continue in that vein. In the Astros pen, it's Josh Fields getting loose. But we may be looking at the final inning now for Brett Oberholzer. Just inside, a 1-out walk to Iannetta. And not a guy you want to walk.
The Astros at Minute Maid Park this Friday, June 26th, as they take on the Yankees. 10,000 fans will receive Astros sunglasses presented by Las Vegas. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Is that because the future is so bright for the Houston Astros and their fans?
Could be. Alfredo Marte at the plate. Way out in front on the change. One out and 0-1 count on Marte. No official at bats tonight. He's been hit by a pitch and walked. Limited schedule around the major leagues today. Finals in, the Yankees fall to the Phillies 11-8. Another one of those big scoring games. Saw a bunch yesterday. Second out of the inning on the strikeout to Marte. And the first time the Astros get him, there's your American League West standings. And the Astros right where they'd like to be.
In the driver's seat, it's crazy to think that you're just a couple weeks removed from the All-Star break. If they can hold on and have a lead there, that'd be awfully good. A.J. Hinch out to talk to Oberholzer, see how he's feeling. He's going to go get him.
It's the 9th spot in the order, right-hand hitter, and Obi's done for the night. So Brett Oberholzer walks off trailing, but he pitched very well. One very big swing by Albert Pujols, a 2-run homer against him, has the Angels on top. The 9-hitter at the plate, and now our AT&T call to the bullpen as Josh Fields comes on to work it for the Astros.
Josh Fields having himself a pretty good year. 22nd appearance, whip under 1. All good signs. See why he's in there against the right-handed hitter. 083 against righties this season. And in Robertson's career, hitting 207 against right-handed pitching. So, A.J. Hinch, with that pitch count getting up on Brett Oberholzer, goes to that bullpen.
101 pitches for Obi tonight. 63 of those were strikes. Really good night. Again, that one big swing by Albert Pujols. Fields set to go. A little check swing as the ball is hit right off the barrel down the right side.
Did he go?
Not sure. I don't think the bat actually went through the zone.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, that's something. If the ball had missed the bat, it may have been no swing.
But he's down 0-1.
Almost hit it out of the yard. Fastball blown by. 0-2.
I think it was Felipe Alou. If he didn't get a check swing called on the opposing team, he'd be screaming at the umpire. If he'd have hit it, it'd have been a triple. He was entertaining.
I want to hear Felipe have a conversation with Lou Piniella.
That'll be on my next podcast. Can't understand a word you're saying.
Thanks for chiming in, Lou. That fastball misses. 1-2. What's with all the flash bulbs right now?
We saw that last time we were here in Anaheim.
Line drive into right field. Late on the fastball, but perfectly through that right side. A walk and a single here in the inning. The Angels have runners at first and second for the leadoff man, Johnny Giavotella.
Yeah, I don't think Robertson was trying to do anything other than this right here. Got himself a fastball out over the plate. Just trying to redirect it. And if I remember correctly, as far as the flashlights going off on the cell phones here at Anaheim Stadium, it's their version of the wave. Huh. Would we call it the new wave?
Oh, could be.
Thank you.
That's good. I'm not sure they're syncing up, though. See, we caught 2 of the fans doing it. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm catching on to that version of the wave. Giavotella fouls it back.
Well, then put your cell phone down, Ash.
See, you always expose me. Why do you do that?
I was actually impressed with your ability to flash so frequently.
Excuse me?
It happens.
Oh, see, one of the fans just leaves the light on and puts the hand back and forth across.
Well, that's
very
special.
Smart. Two 2-1 Angels. I think the fans are leading here, though. Curveball in. Recent outing by Josh Fields, we saw a lot of the changeup. That's the over-the-top yacker.
Checks that top part of the zone, didn't break very much, but throws Giavotella. He thought it was going to stay above the zone.
Is that the high altitude working right there?
High altitude strike.
We just came out of Denver, Colorado, and everybody always talks about the breaking ball not working, but actually looked like breaking balls were bending pretty well.
There were some good ones. Still want to see Lance McCullers pitch up there.
The 0-2 curveball chopped to third. Marwin comes on, makes the play on the run, and that'll do it. Angels leave a pair in the 6th inning, but lead the Astros make that 2-1.
Here's the upcoming schedule as we get closer to the All-Star break, presented by Progressive. 2 more here in Anaheim. Finish here on Wednesday, I believe, a noon game. 4 heading back to Minute Maid Park. Bring on the Yankees. 4-game set. Ash and Brownie will have that call, and then I'll give Ash a break during that Kansas City series and hang out with Brownie during the Royals matchup. Day off on the 2nd before heading out to Boston for that July 4th weekend. 4 games with the Cleveland Indians after that, and then a weekend series with Tampa Bay before the All-Star break. Still a lot of baseball left.
Well, have yourself a blast on that one.
I can't wait to talk about all those All-Stars.
That Blue Man Crew?
Yeah.
Of course, the Blue Man Group, isn't it? Yeah. Trevor Gott on to work now for the Angels in the 7th inning. 2-1. Halos lead it.
Look at Trevor Gott's numbers. Fastball. This guy can bring a little bit of the cheese. 96 miles an hour averaging on that fastball. Curveball around 81 miles an hour.
So Gott works it to Gaddis, Rasmus, and Carter here in the 7th. There was a fine major league pitcher, Jim Gott, in recent years, or 2-3 decades back.
I don't remember the name.
Threw hard. Do you see what Evan Gaddis did right there? Tapping the bat and then listening to it. Can you actually hear something like that? Ground ball up the middle. Gio Vitella on the run makes the play, and out number 1.
Well, Gaddis got a fastball in, fouled it off down the third base line, and then you saw him tap the handle side on the ground, or you see him tap the bat. They're just trying to make sure that that bat is still in one piece. You can tell by the tone when you hit it if the bat is broken or not.
Colby Rasmus at the plate, 0 for 2. He has struck out, 4 strikeouts on the night, so the Astros haven't gone down on strikes a lot tonight. Just not much to show. 2 hits on the evening.
Well, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Astro hitters worked into 7 3-ball counts versus Santiago. Guess how many hits they got in those?
Zippo.
0 for 6 with a walk.
So not taking advantage when you kind of get that count where you can look for a pitch.
Exactly.
Home run by Santana and a single by Marwin Gonzalez, and that's it. Rasmus fouls it down the left side.
98 miles an hour on that fastball from Gott.
Fumes. It's about what Jim Gott would bring.
Wow.
That ground ball goes foul. It's 0-2 on Colby. 10 big home runs for Rasmus. The Astros have hit 1 long ball tonight. It's that multi-long ball effort that has been so successful for the team. In fact, though, when the Astros have hit just 1 home run or more, they're 33-18. When they don't homer, 8-12.
5 members of that Astros offense, double-digit home runs.
Fastball away. They ask for the appeal. 2-2 now on Colby. Shift on. There's the offense tonight. Domingo Santana. 2 home runs in the big leagues. Carlos Correa has gone empty, 0 for 3 on the night. Sharply hit, but right at Pujols. He'll go to the bag. Second out of the 7th inning. And now Chris Carter comes to the plate. 0 for 2 tonight. 0 for his last 12. Two outs, nobody on base. That's when you look for a big swing. Carter just a 125 mark lifetime against the Angels. It's one to right center field. Calhoun moves over, and that'll do it. A quiet 7th inning, 1, 2, 3. 7 in a row retired of Astros hitters.
Astros as we go into the bottom of the 7th. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Bottom of the 7th we go. 2-3-4 for the Angels. Cole Calhoun leads it off, followed by Mike Trout and Albert Pujols here in the 7th. Brett Oberholzer pitched very well, but stands to lose it. Needs the Astros offense to come alive. Calhoun takes the curveball for a strike. The Angels right at 500, 35-35. Start the night 5.5 games back. Fastball hit in the air down the left field side. Rasmus chasing and makes a nice running grab. One out with Mike Trout coming to the plate. Trout 0 for 2. He struck out twice and then drew a walk in the 5th inning. That came with 2 outs. Nothing going on, but it brought up Albert Pujols, who crushed his 22nd bomb of the year. And so Mike Trout with 1 out trying to create something here, and there's Mr. Pujols. Trout's batting average at .302. Taken early in the count. We saw much of that last year with Mike Trout. Joe Smith, right-hander, loosening in the pen now for the Angels.
It actually seems like Trout is laying off those fastballs on that inner third, because that's where Obi was working him early in the count too.
Trout has now scored 25 runs in his last 30 games. That pitch was close.
Makes a lot of sense when the guy behind is driving the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, that's the case, and Trout's been getting on a lot.
Exactly. 385 on base percentage.
Surprising to me, the Angels have not had much of an offense this year.
Big filthy right here from Josh Fields. Those look like a slider.
That's not a pitch he generally throws.
A nice one to mix into the rotation of pitches that Josh has. Fastball, curveball, occasional changeup. I guarantee you that pitch wasn't in the scouting report.
Fastball on the inside edge. Oh, that's a tutorial right there by Josh Fields.
Really was. Tonight's league leaders are presented by your local Honda dealer. The only reason we're showing you that graphic is because we know what Albert Pujols had done to the Astros in previous years in that St. Louis Cardinal uniform. That's a big number.
How about
53
that
home runs.
Man.
Doesn't count the postseason, includes the postseason. So that's why that number's so big.
I
He's
don't
had
know
47 career home runs in the regular season against the Astros.
I don't know if I'd have thought of Aramis Ramirez going on that list. Of course, having played much of his career in the National League Central against the Astros.
Just feels that way.
Maybe logical, but those other names, kind of a who's who. Pujols 1 for 2. Extends his lead in home runs. 22 on the year. Another good breaking ball. It's 1-1.
Mix it up every now and then. Josh Fields playing in the AL West. Maybe the Angels getting a book on him a little bit, sitting on that fastball, throw a couple of wrinkles in there.
Fastball crushed to left field. This one gets out in a hurry. Number 23. And second of the night for Albert Pujols.
2013, we saw Albert Pujols scuffle big time, plantar fasciitis. Got that taken care of. Hit a little bit better last year. The numbers started to come back. But this is vintage Albert Pujols. This is the guy that tormented the Houston Astros for years. Now doing it again in the same division, but in a different uniform. This is a good fastball. When Albert Pujols is starting to get the bat around on some good fastballs, that's going to be good things for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
47 RBIs now and 23 bombs. No doubt about that shot. David Freese 0 for 3, an unusual line. If you look on the score sheet, 3 times grounding out back to the mound.
That's that middle to middle away, and that's where big home run hitters like it. Usually get those arms extended, throw the barrel at it.
Ground ball is foul at third. Marwin's been active tonight. Wow.
What were you saying about the Angels offense?
Yeah.
Jeez.
50th career multi-homer game.
It's all about timing, too. We keep talking about it. Parts of the year when you face these guys who are going cold. Right now they're facing the Angels lineup with a guy who is incredibly hot in Albert Pujols.
I wonder how many people would guess right. How many times has Albert Pujols led his league in home runs? And the answer is just twice. 2009, 2010 as a member of the Cardinals. 47 and 42 home runs respectively. You know, he's only led his league in RBIs just once in his career. But his totals are simply phenomenal.
I was going to say it's the consistency.
Yep. High cheese thrown by. 2-2. What a career. (3-1) Angels here in the 7th inning. Half swing going through is Freese. That'll do it. A couple of strikeouts in the inning, but the long ball by Pujols has the Angels leading it.
against the Yankees in a 4-game series June 25th through the 28th. 10,000 fans will receive a special edition Vote Altuve shirt presented by Citgo at the game on June 27th. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com. Yes way, Jose, guys. Who doesn't want one of those?
Thanks a lot, Julia. 3-1 Angels. All the offense for the Angels coming off the bat of Albert Pujols. 2-run dinger in the 5th inning. Solo shot in the 7th inning. 23 now on the year, leading the American League. And for that matter, all the offense for the Astros coming off the bat of Domingo Santana. A 3rd inning solo bomb. 3-1. Angels on top as we go to the 8th inning. And now the right arm of Joe Smith on to work it for Anaheim.
Tell Julia to give me an XL in that t-shirt.
I forgot to mention it.
Did you do that for me?
I think you just did.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, she might be listening down there. You never know. Joe Smith on for the Angels.
No, I'm blocking you guys out.
I knew it again.
I'm listening.
That's what she does.
I'll work on getting you a shirt.
I appreciate you.
If anybody's got the pull, it's Julia.
Good point.
And now Preston Tucker is summoned as a pinch hitter. He'll bat for Domingo Santana. Santana winds up the night 1 for 2 with that bomb and now has 2 major league dingers. First pitch misses down and away. It's a new third baseman for the Angels. Featherston comes on to play defensively.
How many pinch hit home runs does Tucker have on his career?
I would say that's 2.
2 big ones.
4 major league home runs, 2 as a pinch hitter. Of course, it's that same ratio that Santana has. 2 bombs, 1 as a pinch hitter. Pitch is drilled to center field. Moving back and under is Trout. And out number 1.
Pretty well struck. Joe Smith is a tough assignment, though. Not your standard arm angle. Slings it in there. Good sink to it.
Marwin Gonzalez stands in. Marwin has walked and singled. Goes from the right side of the plate. Now turns around and bats left-handed. Marwin with the batting average at .234. Grounds one sharply, and that's a foul ball just outside of the bag.
There's another good play by Dave from Aliso Viejo down that right field line again. That could move.
It's amazing you don't even use notes.
Still trap this thing up here. Nice play, Dave.
Looks like a former pulling guard.
I'll let you tell him that.
That's a compliment. Hammer to right field. At the track, at the wall, and a leaping try. As Calhoun can't make the play, it's a double for Marwin Gonzalez. And that ball was raked.
Marwin getting some playing time. We saw him getting some consistent ABs with Altuve down with the hamstring. Been swinging a great bat from the right side, but right here gets himself a bit of a hanging slider that comes back into the barrel. Laid into it. I thought this ball might have had a chance. Calhoun gave it a great effort, but now he's in scoring position. Bottom part of this order coming up in Castro.
That's 12 doubles on the year for Marwin Gonzalez.
Wow, that was pretty darn close.
That puts him among the leaders. In fact, trailing only George Springer and Colby Rasmus, who each have 14 doubles. Well, Marwin's been really good in that category. He's on board, scoring position for Jason Castro, who takes a strike.
Margot's perfect on the night. Walked the first at bat. Second AB base hit, now a double.
Following Castro, George Springer still looking to extend a hitting streak. The count at 0-2 on Castro.
I think he was trying to tie it up right there.
Find one with a big swing.
Well, that's what you want to see against Joe Smith. If you get a ball elevated, give it a shot. Because he's going to be at his best, Joe Smith is, keeping that ball down.
Ground ball up the middle. That finds a big hole. Base hit drives in Marwin. And now a one-run game, 3-2 Angels here in the 8th. So that one-out double by Marwin really comes through. Jason Castro follows it up with the base hit. Still one out. And now George Springer comes to the plate.
A pretty good piece of hitting. We just saw him going after a fastball up in the zone. That's where Joe Smith wants his pitches to be, but Castro up to the task. Actually hit that ball pretty well up the middle.
16 RBIs for Castro.
And that's the thing with the shift, too. You throw those pitches away, even if the guy goes around and tries to hook it, you're playing in such a shift that you're nowhere near trying to make that play.
The Astros now have 4 hits on the night. Chad Qualls gets loose in the Astros pen. Two runs, 4 hits, an error for Houston. 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Angels. Springer with that 14-game hitting streak on the line, 0 for 3 on the night. Came close in the 3rd inning, drove one down the right field side in the corner near the foul pole, but Calhoun went up and over the wall and brought it back. Smith out in front, 0-2. Slider got him looking at the knees, and Springer didn't like it.
Not sure if he didn't like it or just didn't realize how nasty that pitch was. That pitch was down. He's complaining about it. We get a chance to take a second look at it. Does look low where Iannetta received it, but it's where it crosses again.
You can see that shake of the head. And now it's up to Carlos Correa. He's 0 for 3 on the night. So that hitting streak for George Springer in jeopardy. More importantly, the Astros trying to create a winning streak once again. Winning yesterday in Seattle. Correa takes inside.
How about the kid steps up right here? Add to the legend that is continuing to grow.
Chops one off his foot. Ball and a strike. Here's my impression. He's not afraid of the situation.
If I had his tools, I wouldn't be afraid of anything. These at-bats are a little bit tougher. Joe Smith is built to have that sinker bore in on right-handed hitters, much like you just saw that foul ball off the shin.
2-1.
But it just takes one mistake.
Smith is the setup guy for the Angels. A hard sinking fastball and a 2-2 count.
Tough to lay off. Carlos Correa, rookie season, you're getting to see all these guys you've been watching on TV for quite a while. It's a totally different ball game when you're in that box. See what kind of movement they actually have. Got to be able to adjust quickly.
19 holds on the year for Smith. And that leads the major league, so he's been really good in this role. Three and 2 with 2 outs. That puts Castro on the move. There he goes, the pitch inside. 2-out walk. Has runners at first and second, and Jose Altuve coming to the plate. 0 for 3, and what a time to get yourself going.
Would be a great time. Actually, this might be part of the reason he's in that 3-hole. Get a runner in scoring position. Pretty good numbers from Altuve.
Altuve has flied to left twice and struck out. And now they're going to have a meeting at the mound. The pitching coach, Mike Butcher, goes out. Houston Street, the closer, now gets up for the Angels in their pen.
Tomorrow's pitching matchup is presented by Chevron. Care for your car. Let's see what we got. Colin McHugh for the Houston Astros. It's C.J. Wilson going for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Should be plenty of pitches thrown in that game from the Anaheim side. But Colin McHugh's got a good record. The ERA doesn't really back that up. He's had a couple of rough outings here of late. Has had to battle through some of those starts. Hopefully turn things around tomorrow.
You see, C.J. Wilson has yielded just a .226 batting average against. Jose Altuve, it's time.
When getting back to it being time with runners in scoring position, Jose Altuve is hitting .326.
Fastball dips down and in.
Tell you what, if Altuve could find a foul line, find a gap, somehow get the base hit past these outfielders, Carlos Correa is going to score easy.
It's just a piece, a ball and a strike. Mike Scioscia has seen it all as a manager.
You got to love this matchup between Scioscia and Hinch, don't you, being an ex-catcher?
Yeah. Hey, you love the catchers in that manager position. Well, that's right on the hands. 1-2.
I've seen some incredible foul balls. How does he hit that pitch into that section?
June 8th, the last time Altuve has had more than one hit in a game. Yeah, that was tough. Got a pitch to handle there. Big moment in this game, the 8th inning. The Astros down a run. 2 runners aboard, and the 1-2. Slider fouled. And that'll be back in the seats.
Good job of fighting it off. Just takes one. Doesn't have to even be a good one to Altuve. He's such a good bad ball hitter. Joe Smith could try and throw one out of the zone, waste one, but Altuve could turn it into a base knock, tie this thing up.
Two and two on Jose. When he's got it going, you know he loves this kind of a situation.
He's starting to get that look about him a little bit.
Thought I almost saw a little bit of a smile. Chopper, third base side, and it goes foul.
Wow, that was a fortunate bounce for the Angels.
Yeah, there's no way they were going to throw out Altuve.
That would have been bases juiced for Evan Gattis.
You know what, a good sign right there. Jose ran well down the line.
It's an excellent observation.
So you need him to get healthy, stay healthy the rest of the way, and be productive.
There he goes. I guess that hamstring feels a little bit better when you can smell a base hit coming.
Always. Could be torn in half and you could go with everything.
Saying there's a chance.
Two and two on Jose Altuve. Stays alive. Carlos Correa stayed alive and eventually drew the walk.
If anything good comes out of this situation, it's the fact that Joe Smith has thrown 25 pitches already. Maybe give him the day off tomorrow.
Evan Gattis waits on deck, but this is about Jose Altuve at the plate against Joe Smith.
Outfield shallowed up against Altuve.
Slider hammered down the left field side. This is deep. And a diving effort can't come up with it. And that is going to cost the Astros a run. It'll be a ground rule double. They'll tie the game at 3. RBI double Altuve. As scoring is Castro. Being held at third base, Carlos Correa, because that ball landed on the track and kicked to the seats. And what an effort by Robertson.
That was a heck of an effort. Socha's coming out. He's going to the bullpen. But what a fortunate bounce for the Angels. Just mentioned how the defenses, or the outfield defense, is playing shallow. Altuve barreled this one up pretty good. Robertson gave the best shot he could, but with that ball bouncing into the outfield, Correa can't score. He's got to stop at third base, like you said, Ash. Mildly disappointing.
Yeah, that ball stays in play now as we see Joe Smith leaving the field. Terrific effort. Angels go to the pen again in a tie. He can't even stand out at second base. He's got to come in and bump fists with the guys. That could be the starter for Jose. We're tied at 3, and now the closer comes on, Houston Street, with runners at second and third, and Evan Gattis at the plate.
Closer for the Angels, 28th appearance. Good numbers, 20 saves. Second in the American League with those 20 saves. Fastball, slider, changeup. Good 3-pitch mix. Not going to blow your doors off. Only throws about 88 miles an hour.
And yet very good numbers. 28 strikeouts in 27 innings. He is 20 for 22 in save situations. This is not one of them.
Altuve saw 9 pitches in that AB.
That's a heck of an at-bat.
4 2-strike foul balls.
It's one of those plays that could have gone multiple ways. Robertson came so close to catching it. If the ball drops and stays in play, easily 2 runs. Gattis takes a strike. It's 1-1. All 20 saves picked up by the Angels this year, recorded by Houston Street. And now 1-2 on Gaddis.
Houston Street does such a good job of just throwing pitches just off the edges. Get a hitter to commit. By the time that swing starts, the ball is either sliding away from you or that good changeup diving down and into right-handers. A lot of pressure on Iannetta.
Big walk drawn by Carlos Correa in the inning. All started by the double from Marwin Gonzalez. Jason Castro singled him home. An out later, Correa walked, and then the double by Jose Altuve to tie it. And Gaddis down on strike. So Street comes on, gets the strikeout, and we'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning in a 3-3 tie here in Anaheim. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare right now at southwest.com. And brought to you by Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. Chad Qualls comes on to work it. This ballpark's been around a while, but still a very gorgeous one. Chad Qualls has a big assignment now in a 3-3 tie here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Chad pitched on the 20th at Seattle last time. Went an inning, gave up a run, struck out one, only threw 10 pitches in that outing.
The other change for the Astros defensively, Preston Tucker, who came on as a pinch hitter, is now in right field. So Qualls works it to the 6, 7, 8 hitters. Eric Ibar leads off. He's 1 for 3 on the night. Seriously robbed in the 4th inning by Marwin Gonzalez. A ball and a strike. The Astros struck first, a run in the 3rd inning. That on the Domingo Santana dinger. Albert Pujols launched one in the 5th inning for 2 runs. Angels took the lead. The Angels took a 3-1 lead on a second home run on the night by Pujols in the 7th. But the Astros strike for a pair in the 8th to tie it. The Astros winners in 4 of the first 7 on the year. They will meet 19 times before it's all said and done. Two and two now on Ibar. AJ Hinch trying to make sure that he stays up with all the numbers on these guys. Trey Hillman, a great guy to have at your side. 2-2 to Ibar. Angels shortstop lays off, and now a full count. Don't want to lose that first man in the 8th inning in a tie. Hot shot back up the middle. So Ibar earns it with a base hit to start the inning.
Might have been ball 4. Pitch looked up in the zone. Ibar in a 3-2 count against Chad Qualls, sitting on that fastball. See where the location is. Up above the letters. Was out of the zone. Either way, he's going to be on first base, but gets greedy and gets that knock.
And again, Blummer, it's kind of one of those scenarios that Qualls has seen a number of times recently, leaving that sinker up. And now the Angels go to their bench. They'll bring on Efrain Navarro. He'll bat for Chris Iannetta, the catcher, who went 1 for 2 with a walk.
Yeah, we've seen sinkers flatten out from Chad Qualls. This would not be a comfortable person to try and bunt off of. Creates a lot of movement with that sinker. It's got to be one of the harder things, too, coming off the bench and laying down a bunt.
And Navarro doesn't have a sacrifice bunt on the season.
Well, there you go.
He's just in his 4th year in the big leagues. Shows bunt. That sinker finds the strike zone. A lot of movement there at the plate, and a lot of times home plate umpires will get fooled by that.
Tell you what, Navarro got fooled by it. Qualls almost looked like he threw that sinker right at him and ran it back over the inside corner of the plate.
Did look that way.
Now what? Do you give it to him again? Let him swing away. Good sinker ball. Possibly get that double play.
It's always that tough call for a manager. So no bunt on, but now an 0-2 count on Navarro. The Angels have 12 sacrifices on the season, so not a lot. Joe Thatcher, the left-hander, now gets loose in the Astros pen. Bottom of the 8th inning, leadoff man gets on base, Ibar. And now a wild pitch will move Ibar to second base. And that's a freebie you just don't want to give up.
That's a gift. Trying to hit that sinker away, get the swing and miss, possibly roll one over. Instead, yanks it, gets past Castro. Now all Navarro has to do is yank a ground ball on the ground to move that runner 90 feet closer to scoring that winning run.
First wild pitch on the year for Chad Qualls. But now the Angels have Ibar in scoring position. And now the assignment for Navarro, you would think, would be to hit something on the ground right side. It's just a piece. Count stays at 1-2. Navarro's not a kid. He's 29 years of age. There's the slider. Because I guess that's all in perspective. Some of the crowd here is already headed for the exits.
School's out. You got to stick around. Check out where Colby Rasmus is playing.
That is what you'd call a shallowed up and near the line positioning.
Almost like he's guarding the tarp.
Breaking ball, grounded foul. Navarro doing a nice job to stay on the breaking ball.
I'm thinking the same exact thing. He's doing a fantastic job of just fighting off those tough sliders down and in. They're not really cutting or breaking in. They've just got more of a downward angle to them. But able to fend them off. They're right on that borderline of possibly being called. But the last thing Navarro wants to do right now is get punched out looking. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat.
And the 14th pitch of the inning for Qualls, still looking for the first out in the 8th inning. Hangs the breaking ball. Little shallow pop-up. Correa on the run. What a catch. Back to home plate. Carlos Correa makes a gem. And there's a big first out.
Your initial thought is great play, and it was. Second thought is, think about the situation he just made this play in. You got the winning run at second base. This play has to be made. Virtually impossible for George Springer to make it in to make that play, but the kid continues to go out there, keeps his wits about him, follows the ball, tracks it all the way into his glove. Great play.
A.J. Hinch is either coming out to talk at the mound or ask Correa what the heck is going on. Matt Joyce has grabbed it bat. He's the pinch hitter for the DH Alfredo Marte, and that means A.J. comes out to bring on the left-hander. Joe Thatcher is the guy to be summoned. And Chad Qualls, the veteran, can certainly thank Carlos Correa for that great play. We'll be right back. And how about Carlos Correa on that play? Just a gem. And look at George Springer, if you can see it from this shot coming at him. So a lot to think about.
Man, that's amazing. First of all, you got to get a good jump. But how about the awareness and the imagination to be able to anticipate where that ball is going to be and make that catch and avoid a large human being and George Springer sprinting at you.
Yeah, that's tough when you know that Springer's coming at you hard. And still be able to make that play. Joe Thatcher now works it one out. That go-ahead run at second base. And Matt Joyce is the pinch hitter. Alfredo Marte was 0 for 1 on the night. Was hit by a pitch and drew a walk. And so now it's lefty versus lefty. Everything is so different if that little pop fly dropped in. Shift on, 3 infielders on the right. Get another glance at that play by Correa and looking at Springer coming on. And see, he had to read it as well. Nice job by George.
It's actually a pretty good read by George.
The 1-0.
Good location.
Matt Joyce with a tough assignment against the lefty. And this is a guy in Joyce who has struggled with the bat this year, hitting just 186.
Saw Thatcher's numbers, holding lefties to a 206 batting average.
Thatcher hangs on to the baseball, and timeout is called. And now Will Harris gets loose. Thatcher is pitcher number 4 tonight for Houston. On the 2-0, Joyce gets the green light.
Joyce hitting .071 against left-handers this year.
Chad Qualls thoroughly invested in this one. The 2-1, and now 3-1. And again, with the numbers on the year for Matt Joyce not being good and the lefty-lefty matchup, you'd hate to lose this guy. Right hand hitting, Dan Robertson waiting on deck. Runner goes from the second. Pitch outside, and the throwdown not in time. So it's a walk and a stolen base. Marwin tried to keep that tag on, but no out called. And that's the first stolen base on the night. And that very costly now, as the Angels have a man at third with less than 2 outs.
Not a bad place to run. I know there was a left-handed hitter up, but the shift is on, so that Marwin Gonzalez, the third baseman, is playing off the line. But also think about the count, too. A 3-1 count. Thatcher's attention is going to be on that hitter trying to throw a strike in that situation. Allowed Ibar to get a pretty good jump.
Just the 5th stolen base for Ibar on the year. And as you say, a really big one. And now AJ has to come out and possibly make another choice with the bullpen. First and third, right hand hitting Dan Robertson at the plate, and it is Will Harris. So Harris comes on. He'll be pitcher number 5 for Houston. Huge moment. For the Halos, 1 out, and the 9 spot at the plate, Dan Robertson, who is 1 for 3, and he'll face Will Harris now to come on and bring that big time stuff to try to get out of this jam.
Does have some good stuff. He's also got a good record, 4-0. ERA still under 1. Whip right around a half. The opponent batting average, these are crazy numbers that he's putting up. Got his 4th win of the season yesterday at Seattle. Went an inning and a third, scoreless.
Get that Bolts job and now try to hold one right here. The Astros picked up 2 enormous runs in the top of this 8th inning to tie things at 3. But now the Angels come right back and threaten maybe the key matchup of the night. Springer moves toward right center. And a bunt on, a safety squeeze. It's fouled off.
That was what I fully expected Robertson to do right there. 1st and 3rd situation, 1 out. Bunt that ball towards first base. You got a good runner in Ibar at 3rd base. Get that ball down early. He gets a good jump. It's going to be a tough play for Carter to get that winning run heading home.
And again for the Angels, just 12 sacrifice bunts on the year. But they tried the safety squeeze. 0-1 the count. And again, pitch is down and away.
I wouldn't mind seeing Carter kind of creeping off a little bit early. When I played with Brad Mills, we had a bit of a timing play here in Houston where a set of signs would go out there. The first baseman would know that the pitcher was not going to pick off, therefore allowing him a chance to maybe gain a couple steps towards home plate to cut that bunt off in this situation.
Marwin had to kind of hang back right there with the base runner.
It's tough because, you know, if the third baseman runs down, the runner's going to go right with him.
Middle infield drawn in a bit. And again turning to bunt. And backing away was Robertson. And now 2-1. Harris missing on those 2 pitches. And it's been 3 straight pitches now with Robertson turning to bunt. Former Texas Ranger hitting .231. Harris set. Again showing bunt, dropping at first base side. Carter with the flip to the plate and throws it away. Scoring is Ibar. Digging for 3rd now is Joyce, and into second base Dan Robertson. And the Angels take a 4-3 lead, still 1 out, and runners at 2nd and 3rd. And a very costly play.
But you knew the play was coming. Robertson was bunting the entire at bat. Actually, a pretty good bunt for Carter to field. See him charging in. Tried to go for the backhand flip, and we talked about Carter, not a natural first baseman, and sometimes you're going to find yourself in situations where you got to let athleticism take over. Tried to go for the backhand flip, didn't go extremely well.
It's a sacrifice bunt with an RBI for Robertson. Robertson reaches on the fielder's choice, and then there's an E3, so Carter draws the error. And now top of the order, infield drawn in, Johnny Giavotella at the plate. Giavotella fouls it on the right side. Four consecutive pitches with that safety squeeze on.
Yeah, it's so tough. Unless you've practiced it, talked about it as a ball club and how to defend it, it makes that play extremely tough. Because that is exactly where you want that bunt to go, is towards first base. Credit the Angels for executing. They basically told everybody in the stadium, we are going to make this play happen. They did it, executed it.
Tough situation for Chris Carter.
It is. It's a tough play for any first baseman coming down that line.
Yeah. And he tried to make that backhanded flip, just could not get it done.
Nice stop.
And I wondered if we might see the same thing from Giavotella.
Infield playing in. Carter not holding anybody on at first base. Leaves him a little more freedom to break early to come in and try and make that play. But I think with the base hit here is what they're trying to go for, 2-run score.
For the Astros in the 9th inning, the bats will be Rasmus Carter and Preston Tucker. Still just one out. And a strike is taken. Take another look at that play by Chris Carter.
Did a great job of fielding it. That's the first thing you want to do. Tried to go for the shovel pass.
Now you don't complete that shovel pass and you got problems. The 2-2. And the slider got him. Harris with the breaking ball for the strikeout. So 2 outs, runners at second and third. And the 2-hitter Cole Calhoun comes to the plate. Nowhere to put him with Mike Trout waiting on deck.
Nasty hammer from Will Harris.
Calhoun 1 for 4 on the night. That's 8 strikeouts for Houston pitching. Shift on, 3 infielders on the right. Marwin on the left side. That run is an earned run. One and 0 the count. Heat slips on by. Chad Qualls is the guy that pays for that run.
How about Altuve's ground rule double?
A play that could have gone multiple ways. Robertson came so close to catching it. And then it lands and bounces out of play for the ground rule double. That one's popped up back to the seats. And if it stayed in play, the Astros have a 4th run.
Altuve probably ends up on third base with the play going home, trying to get Correa. But Correa scores easy.
It also likely changes the order of the pitching for the Astros if they had taken that lead. Carlos Correa, just a gem defensively.
Feels like every night he's done something pretty much to amaze us.
Nice job by Castro.
How about that?
It's a great example on the breaking ball to a side, and in this case to Castro's right. Watch his right shoulder close off. Just trying to, if you get that shoulder to close off on the baseball, you'll get the ball to kick back toward home plate. I'm sure you remember Brad Ausmus could get the ball to settle on home plate either direction so well.
Almost looked as if he absorbed it. Just took all the impact and it would just be sitting in front of him.
If you noticed what he did, he'd keep the glove down, and once you do, the body has to bend over a bit. And now Castro comes out to the mound. Once that glove comes up, the body tightens up and stiffens, straightens up.
Some big games here in the AL West.
Yep.
Looking at these next couple weeks, you talk to most ball clubs, if they can be in first place going into that All-Star break, that usually ends up being some pretty good things towards the end of the season.
Seattle was defeated by Kansas City 4-1. And that's the only other American League West team in action. Nice play by Harris, and he'll get Calhoun. That'll do it in the 8th inning. But the Angels get a run. As we go to the 9th, it's 4-3 Halos.
Houston Astros. Time now for the Manko big hit of the game, and that actually was a couple big hits off the bat of Albert Pujols. Obi knew he made a mistake. Albert Pujols made him pay for it. The man has been swinging an incredibly hot bat of late. Had an opportunity later in the game to do some more damage. Got a fastball from Josh Fields in the 7th inning. Launched that deep into left center field. The nemesis of the Astros, Albert Pujols, striking twice tonight.
Since May 28th, 15 bombs now for Pujols and 30 ribbies. Just 4 strikeouts. He's feeling it. The Astros need something here in the 9th inning. Colby Rasmus starts it, but with that shift on, he hits right into it. Ibar makes the play. 1 pitch, 1 out. Houston Street on here in the 9th inning. And it's Street's to win right now, not to save. That's a big out for Street, getting Rasmus. And now Chris Carter at the plate. 0 for 3 on the night. 0 for 13 in a stretch. Fastball at 88. Finds the outside edge.
I've actually seen Chris Carter be a little more passive during this rough patch he's going through. Taking some first pitch strikes.
Good swing as he fouls it back, and now 0-2 the count. Carlos Perez, former Astros farmhand, is now the catcher. Oh, and 2 on Carter as Preston Tucker waits on deck. Carter hits it on the ground to third. Freeze with the play. And a good strong throw to get him. And make that at third base Featherston now. And 2 outs. It's up to Preston Tucker. Preston Tucker came on as a pinch hitter for Domingo Santana in the 8th inning and hit it well as he flied to center field. One of those times where you're looking for the big swing. Takes a fastball just under the knees. This young man has reacted very well in tough, tight situations. Again, 2 of his 4 home runs have come as a pinch hitter. Just outside. The changeup just floats away. Fastball at 89, and yet Tucker had that barrel under the baseball.
Might have gotten a little bit big. 2-0 count. Get you a fastball, trying to tie this thing up.
Marwin Gonzalez waits on deck. And another swing and a miss by Tucker. And a 2-2 count. And now the Angels fans are coming to their feet. Angels trying to even the 8 games following tonight's game. The 2-2. Change is popped up. And this should do it. Ibar under. Puts it away. And the Angels pick up game 1 of this 3-game set. It's a 4-3 final. The Halos on top.